Finding Your True Self, a philosophical guide. From the moment we are born, we are thrust into a world already rich with predefined scripts and roles. We are handed a name, a lineage, and a set of cultural expectations that begin to shape our identity long before we can even question them. As we grow, this process intensifies. We are encouraged to pursue certain careers, to adopt specific belief systems, and to behave in ways that align with what society deems normal or successful. This continuous stream of external directives often leads us to construct an identity that is, in many ways, a performance, a carefully curated version of ourselves designed to fit in, to be loved, and to avoid rejection. We wear masks to please our parents, to impress our peers, and to feel secure in a world that can feel incredibly demanding. Yet, beneath these layers of learned behavior and social conformity lies a fundamental, persistent question that whispers in moments of quiet reflection: who am I truly? This question is not about your job title, your relationship status, or your social media persona. It is about the core of your being, the person you are when no one is watching, when the masks have been taken off, and the performance has ended. This inner self is often hidden, not because we want to hide it, but because we have been trained to ignore its voice in favor of the louder, more insistent demands of the external world. The search for the true self is not a quest for a definitive answer, but a profound and transformative journey to reconnect with this inner, authentic voice. This guide is a philosophical map for that journey. It is not a self-help manual promising quick fixes or a list of steps to a better life. Instead, it is an invitation to engage in a deep and honest dialogue with yourself. The path is not linear, and the terrain is often challenging. It requires a willingness to confront uncomfortable truths, to challenge long-held beliefs, and to embrace vulnerability. We will explore the wisdom of ancient thinkers and modern philosophers, not as a set of dogmas to be followed, but as tools for introspection. The goal is to equip you with the courage to question the foundations of your identity and the compassion to accept whatever you find. The first step, as we will see, is to dismantle the myth of the fixed self. We are often told that our personality is set in stone, that we are defined by our past. But philosophy, from the teachings of Heraclitus to modern neuroscience, tells a different story. The self is not a static statue but a dynamic river, constantly flowing and changing. Every experience, every conversation, every book you read subtly alters the landscape of your being. This understanding is liberating, for it means that you are not trapped by who you were yesterday. You have the power to evolve and to become a more authentic version of yourself. We will then delve into the powerful role of social constructs, the labels and roles that shape our identities. These constructs provide a sense of order and belonging, but they can also be subtle prisons. Are you truly a teacher or engineer, or are you a person who performs a certain job? Are you a parent or child, or are you a complex human being with a unique relationship to others? Peeling back these layers requires a kind of archaeological dig into your own psyche, uncovering what is truly yours and what has been handed to you. This process is not about rejecting your roles, but understanding which ones genuinely resonate with your inner truth. The journey continues with the Socratic practice of self-inquiry. In an age of constant distraction, the unexamined life is a default state. We will explore the art of asking profound questions, not just what should I do, but why do I want to do this? We will look at the importance of solitude, a practice that is often feared but is essential for hearing the quiet voice of your intuition. Solitude is not loneliness, it is the deliberate act of being alone with yourself, without the influence or expectations of others. It is in this stillness that the truest parts of you begin to emerge. Ultimately, this guide is an exploration of the fundamental human need to live an authentic life. Authenticity is not about being a rebel or a nonconformist for its own sake. It is about aligning your external actions with your internal values. It is the courage to be honest about your desires, your fears, and your vulnerabilities, even when it is difficult. Living authentically can be terrifying because it often requires letting go of who you thought you were supposed to be, but the alternative, a life lived as a lie, is a far greater source of suffering. The path to finding your true self is not a one-time event, but a lifelong practice of curiosity, compassion, and courage. The reward is not a final, perfect version of yourself, but the profound freedom of living in alignment with the truth of who you are. This journey is the ultimate act of self-love, and it begins now. The myth of the fixed self. The first and most critical step on this philosophical journey is to dismantle one of the most ingrained beliefs we hold about ourselves, that we are a static, unchanging entity. We grow up believing in a stable identity, a core self that is a fixed monument defined by our personality traits, our past experiences, and our deepest character flaws. We tell ourselves stories like, "I've always been an introvert, I'm not a creative person," or "That's just how I am." These narratives, while comforting in their predictability, are a fundamental illusion. They create a cage that prevents us from evolving and adapting to the profound transformations that life inevitably brings. The myth of the fixed self is a comforting lie that keeps us from recognizing the infinite potential for change that lies within us. Philosophers across millennia have long challenged this rigid view. The ancient Greek philosopher Heraclitus famously stated, "No man ever steps in the same river twice, for it's not the same river and he's not the same man." This powerful metaphor is the cornerstone of understanding the fluid nature of the self. The river is in constant motion, and so are we. Every experience, every new skill learned, every conversation that shifts our perspective, every challenge overcome, subtly or not so subtly, alters the landscape of our being. The you of 5 years ago is not the you of today, and the you of today will not be the you of tomorrow. To insist on a fixed identity is to resist the natural flow of existence. This is not just a poetic idea, it is a psychological and neurological reality. Neuroscience has shown that our brains are incredibly plastic, meaning they are constantly rewiring themselves in response to new information and experiences. Every time we learn something new, every time we change a habit, we are literally creating new neural pathways. Our memories are not like files in a computer, but are more like living stories that are re-edited and reinterpreted each time we recall them. The person we were is a version of ourselves we remember and tell a story about, but it is not a prison from which we cannot escape. We have the inherent capacity for profound personal growth and transformation. The danger of clinging to a fixed identity is that it can become a self-fulfilling prophecy. If you believe you are bad at public speaking, you will avoid opportunities to practice, thereby ensuring you never improve. If you label yourself uncreative, you will shut down the initial spark of an idea before it has a chance to grow. By labeling ourselves, we set up unconscious rules for our behavior that limit our potential. We create a small, comfortable box for ourselves and then defend its boundaries fiercely, all the while yearning for a freedom we believe is out of our reach. This chapter's core tenet is that the journey to finding your true self is not about excavating a pre-existing object. It is about actively participating in the continuous process of becoming. You are not a masterpiece that has been finished. You are the artist, the canvas, and the brush all at once. The work is to become conscious of this process and to take a more deliberate role in shaping who you are. This requires an intentional shift in perspective, moving from a noun, "I am this," to a verb, "I am becoming." Embracing this fluidity is profoundly liberating. It frees you from the burden of your past mistakes and the expectations you have placed upon yourself. It allows you to let go of old identities that no longer serve you and to welcome new passions, new beliefs, and new versions of yourself. The person who was once shy can learn to be confident. The person who was once skeptical can learn to be open-minded. This is not about being fake or inauthentic. It is about recognizing that your authenticity is not a static point but an evolving truth. Consider the role of narrative. Our sense of self is largely constructed from the stories we tell ourselves about our lives. These stories are not objective records, they are interpretations. To find your true self, you must become a conscious editor of your own life's narrative. You can choose to rewrite the parts that no longer resonate. You can choose to focus on themes of resilience and growth instead of failure and limitation. This narrative work is a powerful tool for self-creation, allowing you to shape your identity in a way that is more aligned with who you want to be. In conclusion, before we can even begin to find ourselves, we must first accept that the self is not something to be found, but something to be created and recreated. The true self is not a buried treasure waiting to be discovered. It is the river that flows, the evolving story that is always being written. To embark on this journey is to embrace the courage to be in a constant state of becoming, letting go of the myth that you are a finished product and stepping into the beautiful, messy, and infinitely complex process of self-creation. The echo chamber of social constructs. After recognizing the fluid nature of the self, the next crucial step is to confront the powerful external forces that have shaped us. We are born into a world of labels and categories: family, nationality, religion, profession, and social class. These constructs are like a massive, interconnected web, each strand pulling us into a predefined identity. They are not inherently malicious. In fact, they serve a vital function by providing us with a sense of belonging, a shared language, and a framework for understanding our place in the world. However, their pervasive nature often means that we mistake these external labels for our true internal essence. We begin to see ourselves not as a whole person, but as a collection of roles: a doctor, an American, a mother, a CEO. This echo chamber of social constructs can deafen us to the quiet whispers of our authentic self. The process begins early. As children, we internalize the narratives told to us by our parents and community. We learn what it means to be a good son or a responsible daughter. We are praised for certain behaviors and reprimanded for others, which teaches us to align our actions with external approval. This is not just about our behavior, it's about our very sense of being. We start to believe that our value is tied to our achievements, our social status, or our adherence to cultural norms. This creates an identity built on a foundation of shoulds and musts, rather than on the spontaneous expression of who we are. The question becomes not who am I, but who am I supposed to be? Consider the concept of a profession. For many, a job title becomes the dominant part of their identity. When you meet someone new, one of the first questions you're asked is, "What do you do?" Your answer is expected to define you, to place you in a specific social box. But are you truly a lawyer or an artist, or are you a complex human being who happens to practice law or create art? The label can become a cage, limiting your potential for other pursuits. A person who is a successful engineer might suppress a deep desire to write poetry because that's not what an engineer does. Breaking free from this construct means recognizing that your work is something you do, not something you are. This echo chamber is amplified by modern technology and social media. In the digital world, we are encouraged to brand ourselves, to create a public persona that is often a polished, idealized version of reality. We meticulously curate our lives, posting photos of our best moments and broadcasting our accomplishments. This constant performance creates a feedback loop where our sense of self-worth becomes dependent on likes, shares, and validation from others. The self we present online can become so intertwined with our perceived identity that we lose touch with the messy, imperfect, and genuine self that exists offline. The constant need for external affirmation makes it almost impossible to hear our own inner voice. To dismantle these constructs, we must first become aware of them. This requires an act of conscious separation. Take time to reflect on the labels you use to define yourself. What would happen if you were to lose your job tomorrow? Who would you be then? If you were to move to a country where your cultural identity held no meaning, what parts of you would remain? These thought experiments are not meant to frighten you, but to show you that your true self is not dependent on these fleeting external categories. It is the person who remains after the labels have been stripped away. The work is to peel back these layers, one by one, to see what is left. It is about questioning the assumptions you have adopted from your family, your culture, and your society. It is about understanding which parts of your identity are genuinely your own and which are echoes of what you have been told to be. This is not an act of rebellion, but an act of liberation. It is the process of reclaiming your identity from the collective unconscious and making it your own. It is an acknowledgement that your true self is a unique tapestry, not a uniform made from a social blueprint. Embracing this perspective allows you to live with greater freedom and authenticity. You can still be a devoted mother or a passionate entrepreneur, but these roles will no longer define the totality of who you are. They will become expressions of your authentic self, rather than constraints upon it. This distinction is subtle but profound. When you act from your true self, your actions feel aligned and purposeful. When you act from a social construct, your actions can feel like a performance, even to yourself. In conclusion, the journey to finding your true self requires you to step outside the echo chamber of social constructs. It is a bold act of self-discovery, where you challenge the very definitions that have been given to you. By understanding that you are not your job, your nationality, or your social status, you open yourself up to the infinite possibilities of who you are. Your true self is a mosaic of experiences and emotions that cannot be contained within any single label. It is a force of nature, and this chapter is an invitation to feel its wild and boundless energy. The Socratic practice of self-inquiry. After shedding the masks of a fixed self and the labels of social constructs, we arrive at the most crucial and demanding practice of our philosophical journey, self-inquiry. The ancient philosopher Socrates famously declared that the unexamined life is not worth living, and this timeless wisdom serves as the cornerstone of our quest. In a world saturated with information and external demands, we are rarely encouraged to look inward and ask the difficult questions. Our days are often a series of reactive responses to notifications, emails, and to-do lists, leaving little room for genuine introspection. The Socratic method, applied to our own lives, is the antidote to this state of intellectual and emotional passivity. It is an active, deliberate, and sometimes uncomfortable process of questioning everything we think we know about ourselves. To begin this practice, you must first create a sacred space and time for reflection. This does not require a temple or a retreat. It can be as simple as a quiet corner in your home or a solitary walk in a park. The goal is to silence the external noise and listen to the internal whispers. Socrates' method was a form of dialogue, a series of questions designed to expose contradictions and lead to a deeper understanding. We can apply this same technique to our internal monologue. Instead of simply accepting a thought or feeling, we ask, why do I feel this way? What is the origin of this belief? And is this belief truly mine, or has it been inherited? The work is not to find a single definitive answer, but to continually probe and challenge our own assumptions. One of the most powerful questions in this practice is to ask about our motivations. We often operate on autopilot, pursuing goals without ever questioning why we want them. Do you seek a promotion because it genuinely excites you, or because you believe it will earn you respect from others? Do you maintain a certain friendship out of genuine connection, or out of a fear of being alone? Self-inquiry forces you to peel back the layers of your motivations, distinguishing between those that come from a place of genuine desire and those that are driven by external validation or a need to live up to someone else's expectations. This honest confrontation with your own why can be a humbling but incredibly liberating experience. The Socratic practice also involves a fearless confrontation with our shadows, the parts of ourselves we are ashamed of or have suppressed. We all have insecurities, past mistakes, and irrational fears that we would rather not acknowledge. Self-inquiry demands that we shine a light on these areas, not to wallow in them, but to understand them. Why do you get angry in certain situations? What triggers your feelings of inadequacy? By examining our shadows, we gain a deeper understanding of our unconscious drivers. This is not about self-criticism, it is about self-awareness. When we understand the source of our pain or our negative behaviors, we gain the power to change our relationship with them. A key component of this introspection is journaling. Putting your thoughts on paper creates a tangible record of your internal dialogue, allowing you to observe your own patterns and contradictions from a distance. A journal is not just a place to vent, it is a tool for inquiry. You can use it to map your emotions, trace the origins of your fears, or articulate your true desires. By writing down your questions and your honest, unedited answers, you create a space for intellectual and emotional honesty that is often impossible to achieve in the chaos of daily life. This practice is a form of active meditation, turning your mind into a subject of study rather than an untamed wildness. The goal of this process is not to arrive at a perfect, flawless self. Socrates himself claimed to know nothing, and his wisdom lay in his relentless pursuit of truth through questioning. Similarly, the goal of self-inquiry is not to find a final answer, but to cultivate a habit of intellectual and emotional honesty. It is a commitment to a life of learning and growth. The more you practice asking these difficult questions, the more you will find that your answers become clearer, your motivations more authentic, and your decisions more aligned with your core values. This practice is often best done in solitude. While conversation and external feedback can be helpful, true self-inquiry requires you to be alone with your own mind. In a culture that equates solitude with loneliness, this can be a difficult shift. However, it is in moments of quiet that we can truly hear our own thoughts without the influence of others. It is here that we can differentiate our own voice from the chorus of external opinions. This is where true self-discovery begins, not in the noise of the world, but in the silence of your own introspection. In conclusion, the Socratic practice of self-inquiry is the engine of finding your true self. It is an invitation to move beyond a passive existence and to become the author of your own life. It requires courage to ask difficult questions, humility to accept what you find, and a deep commitment to intellectual and emotional honesty. This is not just a philosophical exercise, it is the fundamental work of a conscious and meaningful life. By embracing this practice, you begin to live not just according to what you have been told, but according to the wisdom you have discovered within. The power of solitude. In a world that is more connected than ever, solitude is often misunderstood, even feared. We live in a culture that equates being alone with being lonely, a state to be avoided at all costs. Our phones are a constant tether to the external world, filling every spare moment with notifications, social media feeds, and the perceived need to be in constant contact. Yet, in our frantic avoidance of being alone, we have lost touch with one of the most powerful tools for self-discovery, the deliberate practice of solitude. Solitude is not about isolation from others. It is about creating a sacred space to be alone with yourself, free from external influences and the constant pressure to perform for an audience. It is in this quiet absence of others that our true nature begins to surface. The first profound benefit of solitude is that it allows us to hear our own thoughts. The noise of the world, the chatter of conversations, the endless stream of news, the demands of work and family, acts as a powerful distraction, drowning out our inner voice. When we are constantly surrounded by people or connected to devices, our minds are in a perpetual state of reaction, responding to external stimuli. We rarely have the opportunity to listen to our own intuition, to process our emotions, or to reflect on our deeper desires. Solitude provides the stillness necessary for this internal dialogue to take place. It is the time when you can finally ask yourself, "What do I truly want?" and actually hear the answer. Solitude also provides the space to confront our emotions without judgment. When we are with others, we often feel the need to maintain a certain emotional state, to be happy, composed, or agreeable. This can lead us to suppress feelings like sadness, anger, or anxiety. However, in the privacy of solitude, these emotions can finally rise to the surface. It is here that you can sit with your discomfort, explore the roots of your pain, and begin the process of genuine emotional processing. This is not about wallowing in negativity, it is about acknowledging your full emotional landscape. Only by accepting and understanding all your feelings can you move toward a state of emotional wholeness. Furthermore, solitude is the crucible for creativity and introspection. Many of history's greatest thinkers, artists, and innovators have praised the power of being alone. Isaac Newton formulated his laws of motion while in solitude during the Great Plague. Henry David Thoreau retreated to Walden Pond to live a life of simple reflection. When you remove yourself from the constant input of external ideas and opinions, your own mind is free to wander, to make new connections, and to generate original thoughts. It is in this state of quiet contemplation that our most profound insights often emerge. Solitude is a fertile ground for the imagination, allowing our minds to connect with a deeper, more intuitive source of knowledge. The deliberate practice of solitude is an act of courage. It requires a willingness to face yourself without the protective shields of social roles or constant activity. You may discover uncomfortable truths about your fears, your flaws, or the unfulfilled parts of your life. This is why many people avoid it. However, facing these shadows is an essential part of the journey. In solitude, you learn that you are enough on your own. You do not need the constant company of others to feel complete. This realization builds self-reliance and a quiet confidence that is not dependent on external validation. A key aspect of this practice is learning to differentiate between solitude and loneliness. Loneliness is a feeling of isolation or a sense of being disconnected from others, even when you are in a crowd. It is a painful state of want. Solitude, on the other hand, is a chosen state of being alone. It is a purposeful act of self-care and a deliberate moment of presence. You can be alone without being lonely, just as you can be in a room full of people and feel profoundly lonely. The goal is to cultivate a healthy, generative relationship with being on your own. To begin this practice, you don't need to move to a cabin in the woods. Start with small, intentional moments. Turn off your phone for an hour and go for a walk. Sit in a quiet room with a cup of tea, without any distractions. Journal your thoughts, without the intention of sharing them. These small acts of reclaiming your time and space are powerful steps. They teach you to become comfortable with your own company and to see yourself as a fascinating subject of study, rather than just a social object. In conclusion, the power of solitude is a fundamental key to finding your true self. It is in this state of quiet self-communion that we can finally hear our own voice, process our emotions, and tap into our creative and intuitive wisdom. Embracing solitude is not about becoming a recluse, but about cultivating a rich inner life that is independent of external circumstances. It is an act of profound self-love, and a necessary step on the journey toward living a life that is truly your own. The courage to be authentic. Once you have embarked on the difficult journey of self-inquiry and spent time in the quiet space of solitude, you will begin to uncover glimpses of your true self. But knowing who you are is only half the battle. The final and arguably most challenging step is to find the courage to live authentically. Authenticity is not a passive state of being. It is an active practice of aligning your actions, words, and decisions with your newfound inner truth. It is the bridge between your internal world of discovery and your external reality. This requires a profound bravery, as living authentically often means breaking from social norms, disappointing others' expectations, and choosing a path that feels true to you, even if it is a path you must walk alone. The primary obstacle to authenticity is the fear of judgment. We are social creatures who crave acceptance and belonging. The very idea of deviating from the crowd, of speaking your mind, pursuing an unconventional passion, or admitting a vulnerability, can feel like a threat to our social security. We worry about what our family will think, what our friends will say, or how our colleagues will perceive us. This fear can be so powerful that it compels us to stay in jobs we hate, maintain relationships that no longer serve us, and keep our true opinions to ourselves. The courage to be authentic means accepting that not everyone will understand or approve of your choices, and being okay with that. Your self-worth must come from within, not from the approval of others. Living authentically also means being willing to let go of roles that no longer fit. As we grow and change, some of the identities we adopted in the past may become ill-fitting. The person who was once the life of the party might realize they are a true introvert who cherishes quiet nights. The person who was once a people-pleaser might learn to set firm boundaries. These shifts can be uncomfortable for both you and the people in your life who have come to expect you to be a certain way. They may resist your change, because it forces them to adjust their own perception of you. The courage here lies in honoring your personal growth, even when it creates friction with your environment. Furthermore, authenticity requires a deep and honest understanding of what brings you genuine joy and purpose, not just fleeting pleasure. Our society often confuses happiness with a constant state of excitement or a long list of achievements. Authenticity asks you to look deeper. What activities make you lose track of time? What conversations leave you feeling energized and alive? What values are non-negotiable for you? Living an authentic life means structuring your daily routine, your career, and your relationships around these core truths. This might mean saying no to opportunities that look good on paper but feel hollow in your heart. It means living a life that is truly yours, not one that is designed to impress others. This practice is not about being reckless or selfish. Authenticity is not an excuse to be unkind or to disregard the feelings of others. Rather, it is about being honest, with yourself and with others. It is the quiet integrity of a person whose internal and external lives are in alignment. When you act from a place of authenticity, your actions carry a different kind of energy. You are not performing, you are simply being. This integrity is palpable to others and is often the source of true confidence and inner peace. One of the most powerful aspects of living authentically is the permission it gives others to do the same. When you have the courage to show up as your true, imperfect self, you become a beacon for others. Your vulnerability can create a space for genuine connection, where others feel safe enough to drop their own masks. An authentic person inspires others not by being flawless, but by showing that it is okay to be human, to be flawed, to make mistakes, and to still be worthy of love and respect. Your courageous act of being yourself is a gift to the world. The journey to authenticity is a continuous process, not a destination you arrive at. There will be days when you feel tempted to slip back into old habits, to put on a mask for convenience, or to say yes when you really want to say no. The courage to be authentic is the ongoing commitment to choose truth over comfort. It is the willingness to feel a little bit scared, but to act with integrity anyway. Each small, authentic choice you make strengthens your inner resolve and builds the foundation of a life that is genuinely yours. In conclusion, knowing your true self is a profound first step, but the final, most transformative act is the courage to live it out loud. It requires confronting your fears, letting go of outdated roles, and prioritizing your inner truth above external validation. The reward for this courage is immeasurable, a life filled with purpose, peace, and deep, genuine connection. Living authentically is the ultimate act of liberation, a testament to the fact that you are the sole author of your life story. The wisdom of our wounds. As we journey inward to uncover our true selves, we inevitably encounter the scars of our past. Our wounds, failures, betrayals, heartbreaks, and moments of deep pain are not simply misfortunes to be overcome, they are integral parts of who we are. For too long, we have been conditioned to view our pain as a weakness, something to be hidden, buried, or forgotten. We create coping mechanisms and emotional walls to protect ourselves from the hurt, inadvertently sealing off parts of our true nature. However, a profound philosophical truth lies in the understanding that our greatest wisdom and deepest compassion often emerge directly from our deepest wounds. This chapter is an invitation to confront your past not with shame or regret, but with a sense of curiosity and gratitude for the lessons they have taught you. The first step in this process is to change our perspective from seeing our wounds as burdens to seeing them as sources of information. Our pain often holds a mirror up to our vulnerabilities, our needs, and our core values. For instance, a painful betrayal might reveal your deepest need for trust and loyalty. A significant failure might expose a fear of not being good enough. By asking, "What did this experience teach me?" instead of "Why did this happen to me?" you shift from being a victim of your past to becoming a student of it. The pain doesn't disappear, but its meaning is transformed from a source of suffering into a catalyst for growth. Consider the concept of post-traumatic growth. While trauma is undoubtedly a source of immense suffering, psychological research has shown that many people who endure significant adversity emerge with a heightened sense of self, a deeper appreciation for life, and a renewed sense of purpose. This is not about romanticizing pain, but about recognizing the incredible human capacity for resilience. Our emotional wounds, when acknowledged and processed, can forge a strength we never knew we had. The person who has survived a great loss often gains a powerful empathy for others, a wisdom that cannot be taught in a book. Their healed scar becomes a symbol of their strength and their ability to endure. To find the wisdom in your wounds, you must first practice radical acceptance. This means acknowledging your pain without judgment or a need to fix it immediately. It's about saying, "Yes, this happened to me and it hurt." Suppressing pain only gives it more power, allowing it to fester and unconsciously shape your behavior. By embracing your emotional history, the moments you failed, the times you were rejected, the relationships that ended, you create a space for healing. This acceptance is not a surrender to your past, but a liberation from it. When you stop fighting your own history, you free up the energy to live fully in the present. This philosophical journey also encourages you to confront the narratives you have built around your wounds. Often, we tell ourselves stories that keep us trapped. I am a failure because of that mistake. I am unlovable because of that rejection. These narratives become a part of our identity, defining us in limiting ways. The work of self-discovery involves becoming a conscious editor of these stories. You can choose to rewrite them, not by denying what happened, but by changing its meaning. Instead of "I am a failure," the story becomes, "I learned a great deal from that mistake, and it made me more resilient." This act of reframing is a powerful tool for self-creation. The wisdom of our wounds is often our most powerful gift to the world. When you have faced and healed your own pain, you can connect with others who are suffering from a place of genuine empathy. You can become a source of comfort and understanding, not because you have a perfect life, but because you have a shared experience of imperfection. Your healed wounds become a bridge to human connection, allowing you to offer a unique brand of compassion that can only be earned through personal struggle. This is the profound truth of the wounded healer, the idea that our ability to help others often stems from our own journey of healing. This process is a testament to the fact that you are not defined by what happened to you, but by how you respond to it. You are not a collection of scars, you are a person who has endured, learned, and grown because of them. Your vulnerabilities are not things to be hidden, but are integral parts of your unique character. They are what make you relatable, compassionate, and wise. The journey to finding your true self is incomplete without honoring the very things that you once wanted to forget. In conclusion, the wisdom of our wounds is a cornerstone of authentic self-discovery. It requires us to move beyond a fear of pain and into a place of acceptance and curiosity. By embracing our past, reframing our narratives, and understanding the lessons our struggles have taught us, we transform our deepest hurts into sources of profound strength and compassion. Your true self is a whole self, one that includes both your triumphs and your scars. It is through this radical self-acceptance that you become the person you were always meant to be. The role of passion and purpose. After a long journey of self-reflection, confronting your past, and accepting your authentic self, a crucial question arises: now what? The answer lies in the dynamic interplay of passion and purpose. Finding your true self is not just an intellectual exercise, it is the first step toward living a life that is vibrant, meaningful, and deeply fulfilling. While the previous chapters focused on the internal work of peeling back layers, this chapter is about reconnecting with the powerful forces that drive us from within. Passion is the fuel, the raw emotional energy that excites you. Purpose is the compass, the sense of meaning that guides you. Together, They are the voice of your soul, telling you what you are meant to do and who you are meant to be. The first step is to rediscover your passions. In a world that often rewards conformity and practicality, we are taught to ignore the things that truly light us up. We might dismiss a childhood love of painting as just a hobby, or a fascination with stargazing as impractical. However, your passions are not frivolous. They are powerful clues to your authentic self. They are the activities that make you lose track of time, the subjects that fill you with insatiable curiosity, and the skills that you feel an innate desire to cultivate. To find your passions, you must become a keen observer of your own energy. What makes you feel alive? What do you talk about with genuine excitement? These are the breadcrumbs leading you toward your true desires. Beyond simple activities, passion is often an emotional state. It's the feeling of flow, a term coined by psychologist Mihai Csikszentmihalyi, where you are so engrossed in a task that you lose all sense of self and time. It's the sensation of being fully present and engaged, operating at the peak of your abilities. This is not about the outcome but the process itself. You can find this state in a myriad of activities, from writing code to cooking a meal, from playing a musical instrument to solving a complex problem. The pursuit of passion is not a luxury, it is a fundamental need of the human spirit. When you deny yourself the opportunity to engage in what you love, you deny a vital part of your being. While passion is about what ignites you, purpose is about what gives your life meaning. Purpose is often connected to a desire to contribute to something larger than yourself. It's the answer to the question, why am I here? This does not have to be a grand, world-changing mission. Your purpose might be to bring joy to others through your humor, to nurture a healthy family, or to create a beautiful garden that provides a peaceful space for your community. It is the sense of value you feel from your actions, the understanding that your life has a meaningful role to play in the world. Purpose gives your passions direction and weight, transforming them from mere hobbies into a source of deep fulfillment. The relationship between passion and purpose is symbiotic. Your passions can lead you to your purpose. For example, a passion for storytelling might lead you to the purpose of sharing marginalized voices. A passion for technology might lead you to a purpose of building tools that improve people's lives. Your purpose, in turn, can fuel your passions, giving you the motivation to refine your skills and overcome obstacles. The most fulfilling lives are often those where passion and purpose are so intertwined that they become indistinguishable. You are not just doing what you love, you are loving what you do because it aligns with a deeper sense of meaning. This philosophical journey encourages you to stop waiting for your purpose to be revealed to you and to start actively seeking it. It involves a shift from a consumer mindset to a creator mindset. Instead of asking, "What can the world give me?" you begin to ask, "What can I give the world?" This question is not about ego or external recognition. It's about finding your unique contribution, the specific way in which your talents and passions can serve others. The most profound fulfillment comes from this act of giving, from using your authentic self to make a positive impact, no matter how small. The work of this chapter is to listen to the quiet voice of your passions and the guiding light of your purpose. This means experimenting. Try new things, revisit old interests, and pay attention to what makes you feel most alive. The answers will not come from a single moment of clarity, but from a continuous process of exploration. It requires you to step outside of the shoulds and musts, and to embrace what truly resonates with your soul. By doing so, you begin to build a life that is not just successful in the eyes of the world, but is profoundly rich in meaning and purpose. In conclusion, the journey of finding your true self culminates in the powerful alignment of passion and purpose. Your passions are the emotional breadcrumbs that lead you, and your purpose is the guiding force that gives your life meaning. When you live a life that is fueled by what you love and guided by what you believe in, you move beyond a life of mere existence and into a life of profound fulfillment. This is the ultimate reward of living an authentic life, not just knowing who you are, but living out that truth in the world. Embracing imperfection. After journeying through the myth of the fixed self, the echoes of social constructs, the practice of self-inquiry, the power of solitude, the courage of authenticity, and the wisdom of our wounds, we arrive at the final, most liberating truth. To find your true self is to embrace your imperfection. We live in a culture obsessed with perfection, perfect bodies, perfect lives, perfect careers. This relentless pursuit of an idealized self creates a deep-seated anxiety and a fear of being not good enough. But the truth is, your flaws, your contradictions, and your vulnerabilities are not things to be hidden or fixed. They are integral and beautiful parts of your unique character. True self-acceptance is the final step of this journey, a radical act of self-love that allows you to be whole, not flawless. The first step in embracing imperfection is to challenge the voice of the inner critic. That relentless voice that tells you you're not smart enough, pretty enough, or successful enough is a product of years of external and internal conditioning. It is a voice that seeks to protect you from failure and rejection by demanding an impossible standard. The practice is not to fight this voice, but to observe it without judgment. See it for what it is, a fear-based narrative, not a statement of fact. You are not your inner critic's words. By simply noticing this voice without identifying with it, you begin to weaken its hold over you, creating space for a more compassionate and realistic view of yourself. Embracing your imperfections is an act of courageous vulnerability. In a world where we are encouraged to present a polished facade, revealing your true self, with all its messy edges, can feel terrifying. But vulnerability is not a weakness, it is the birthplace of genuine connection. When you have the courage to admit a mistake, to share a fear, or to show a part of yourself you are not proud of, you create an opening for others to do the same. This shared human experience of imperfection is what allows for true intimacy and empathy. By dropping the mask of perfection, you not only liberate yourself but also give others permission to be their authentic selves. Consider the concept of the whole self. We often want to compartmentalize our lives, separating our good qualities from our bad ones. But the true self is a mosaic, made up of light and shadow, strength and weakness, triumph and failure. To accept yourself is to accept this totality. It's about recognizing that you can be both a loving partner and a short-tempered person, a creative artist and a disorganized planner. These contradictions do not make you less of a person, they make you more human. By integrating these seemingly opposing parts of yourself, you stop fighting an internal war and begin to live with a sense of internal peace. This acceptance is not about settling for mediocrity or giving up on personal growth. Embracing imperfection is not an excuse to stop trying to be a better person. Rather, it is the foundation from which all healthy growth can occur. You cannot improve upon something you refuse to acknowledge. When you accept your flaws with compassion, you can then approach them with a genuine desire for growth, not out of a sense of self-hatred. You can work on becoming more patient not because your impatience makes you a bad person, but because you want to live a more peaceful and fulfilling life. Philosophically, this concept aligns with the Stoic idea of amor fati, the love of one's fate. It is the acceptance of everything that has happened in your life, including your mistakes and flaws, as necessary parts of your journey. It is a quiet confidence that your life, in all its imperfection, is exactly as it should be. This does not mean you are passive in the face of suffering, but that you have a profound trust in your own resilience and ability to learn from every experience, good or bad. This deep self-trust is the ultimate antidote to the anxiety of a perfectionistic world. The practice of embracing imperfection is a daily commitment. It involves forgiving yourself for your mistakes, laughing at your own quirks, and treating yourself with the same kindness and understanding you would offer a best friend. It means celebrating your small victories and accepting your small failures with grace. It is a continuous conversation of compassion with yourself, a gentle reminder that your worth is not dependent on your performance or your appearance. Your worth is inherent and unconditional. In conclusion, the journey of finding your true self is not about reaching a flawless destination, but about embracing the beautiful, messy, and perfectly imperfect person you are right now. Your flaws are not obstacles to be overcome, they are threads in the unique tapestry of your life. By letting go of the need for perfection and embracing your whole, authentic self, shadows and all, you unlock a profound sense of freedom and peace. This final, liberating act is the most powerful testament to living a life that is truly, genuinely your own. Conclusion. We began this philosophical journey with a fundamental question: who are you truly? Through a process of dismantling myths, confronting social constructs, and practicing deep introspection, we have peeled back the layers of a life lived by external expectations. This guide has offered a map, but the terrain is your own. It has shown that finding your true self is not a static destination but a continuous, dynamic process, a dialogue you must cultivate with yourself with honesty and compassion. The reward for this difficult work is not a perfect, finished product, but the profound and enduring freedom that comes from living a life aligned with your inner truth. The journey is never truly over. Just as a river is always in motion, so too are we. Every new experience, a new job, a new relationship, a new challenge, will present you with an opportunity to revisit these philosophical questions. The self you discover today may evolve into something else entirely tomorrow, and that is not a failure, but a sign of a life well lived. The goal is to develop the tools and the courage to meet each new version of yourself with curiosity, rather than fear. This is the ultimate act of self-love, a commitment to never stop learning about the person you are becoming. By embracing the myth of the fixed self, you have given yourself permission to grow beyond your past. You are no longer defined by your mistakes or the labels others have placed upon you. You are a creator, constantly sculpting your identity from the raw materials of your experiences. This liberation from a rigid identity is the first step toward living a life of authentic potential, a life where you are the author of your own story, not just a character in someone else's. You have also learned to see through the echo chamber of social constructs. Your job, your nationality, your family role, these are no longer the definitive answers to the question, who are you? They are simply facets of your being. By recognizing which parts of your identity were inherited and which are truly your own, you have reclaimed your autonomy. Your true self is a unique tapestry, not a uniform, and you now have the clarity to weave it with threads of your own choosing, regardless of external pressure. Through the Socratic practice of self-inquiry and the power of solitude, you have built a profound relationship with your inner world. You have learned to listen to your intuition, to understand your motivations, and to confront your shadows. You have found that true wisdom does not come from the opinions of others, but from the quiet, honest conversation you have with yourself. This inner compass will guide you through life's most challenging decisions, providing a clear sense of direction when the external world is a blur of noise and confusion. The courage you have found to live authentically is a testament to your bravery. It is the willingness to be honest about your passions, your beliefs, and your vulnerabilities, even when it is difficult. Living authentically is a daily practice of small, truthful choices that add up to a life of profound integrity. The fear of judgment no longer holds the power it once did, because you have discovered that the peace of living in alignment with yourself is far more valuable than the fleeting approval of others. And finally, you have embraced the wisdom of your wounds and the grace of your imperfections. You understand that your pain is not a weakness but a source of profound empathy and strength. Your flaws are not things to be hidden, but are integral parts of your unique human story. This radical self-acceptance is the ultimate act of liberation, as it frees you from the exhausting pursuit of a perfect self and allows you to be fully, wonderfully human. In the end, this guide is not about providing a single answer, but about igniting a lifelong quest. The journey to finding your true self is the most important journey you will ever embark on. It is a path of courage, of compassion, and of profound self-love. May you continue to question, to grow, and to live a life that is truly and unapologetically your own. This is not the conclusion, it is just the beginning.